We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating from the plantation. We built the whole nation. We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating from the plantation. We built the whole nation. We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating from the plantation. We built the whole nation. We are the foundation, bulletproof the hating from the plantation. We built the whole nation.
That is something that actually happened.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Me personally, I get y'all have shown me the evidence and things of that nature, but I'm not exactly, it makes sense, but I just haven't seen a good
You
amount
haven't
of.
traced your lineage to know whether or not it applies to
I don't
you.
really think it
So,
traces
and that's
matters
fine.
to
You can have
lineage.
the conversation if it doesn't apply to you.
Okay, and
But
that's
you can say
fine.
without saying, like, you don't have to beat around the bush.
Right. I'm not beating around the bush. I'm just trying to understand that how we got from black people today. I mean, I guess it all stems from how we classify ourselves as black, right? Because me personally, whether you are, native or descendant child of slavery, FBA, or what have you, and basically, if you are in this country since its foundation and you are of a darker skin, there were policies put in place to hinder your economic success all the way up into 1960s. So,
But still, oh my bad, go ahead.
my point being is that it's not to say kumbaya and say we all need to get along, run this fight for struggle. No, because I do believe identity is important. I say all these things to say, hey, look, we're still here, we're still surviving, we're still going to keep working, but we can't just sit up here when we start making comments like America, it's people's choices and things like that. For this, sometimes you don't always have choices. You don't always have ability to make choices, right? Like this country, you can make a wrong decision by going to prison or be wrongly accused by going to prison at a young age in this country. And our country still actively penalizes and hinders you from re-entering society and living, trying to make better decisions. And that's actual things put into law, regardless of what your origin is, or regardless of, who you are, if you're a minority or if you're just simply a.
That is based on what the individual knows.
Let me ask you a question,
Okay.
Pharaoh. Let me ask you a question. If let's say some people rob a store and they get caught,
Yeah.
and the punishment and this is in a different country, and the punishment for them robbing the store is they getting their hands fucking chopped off.
I would say that
Would
that's
you which would you say is most effective to stop crime?
I think chopping somebody's hand off is draconian. I
All
do.
right,
I
but
think
would
that.
you actually want that in practice here in America?
So no, we're not. I
All
think
right
that.
then. All
I
right.
think that
All
it.
right then. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? It's
So I feel
a lot
like.
better than getting your fucking arms chopped off for some petty theft
So yeah, you're
or
making.
sleeping with somebody's wife can get you murdered, and that's justly in other countries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I believe
No,
that.
I don't like this prison industrial complex. I know I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? But are there things that we can do to curb that shit? Absolutely. Did a lot of Were there some black folks that chose to do crimes on their own volition because they were told by some older individuals that if they do some crimes that they'll be prosperous?
So let me ask you this 100. Why
Let's
why
keep
do
it
you
real.
let me
Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real, bruh.
let me
Don't curb my questions.
I'm
Let's
not
keep it real.
I'm not I'm keeping it real with you. So I'm asking you a serious question here, right? As a black man to black man, um why lead is
Or I'm
Oklahoma.
sorry, African to Indian. I'm African to Indian, or assumed African to Indian.
I'm okay. I'm joking. So why is it that 24 states in the United States have legalized weed including the District of Columbia, but it's still illegal at the federal level.
Business as usual. Because I keep telling you about the monopoly, but you keep calling them white people. That's just how the monopoly operates to control industry.
Interesting. Okay, so 24 state. If they're trying to control industry, why would damn near half the country legalize it?
Look, there's some particular individuals that really benefit from the legalization of of cannabis.
So why not
Because you got to
legalize
think
it
about it
everywhere?
from you got to think about it like, okay, say you with the cartel and a lot of your supply gets distributed to the United States, and you as a, you know what I'm saying, an entity from the cartel would benefit from these laws that are passed. So you think that just shit to benefit the people, man? That's more so to benefit the motherfuckers who are already controlling the trade right now.
Hey, it's this simple. It takes 5 minutes to answer your question. I just went to my state's legislative website to see when to find the bill to legalize marijuana in my state, find out who introduced the bill, go find out who funded their campaign. Boom, you have why it happened.
So I'll ask you that question because I want you. You mentioned earlier that you hate the criminal justice system. The law is a tool, is what I was getting at here.
I didn't say I hate it. I said I didn't. I don't really
100.
like.
You never let me
Don't put
finish.
words in my mouth, dude. I don't hate that shit because sometimes I feel like there's some people that deserve to go.
Okay, and I agree. That's why we have them. That's why they'll continue to be around. But the law is a tool, and that law was used. The illegal marijuana was made to be illegal, um, to simply more or less lock up hippies and black people, right? And that's coming just directly from the White House administration at the time, right? The 13th documentary is an excellent. They actually have the person that said it. So I think that like it's important to understand law is a tool, right? And it was weaponized against black communities, right? And my point being that if 24, and I want you to understand how deep this goes, right? That law that was passed in 20, 30 years ago, 24 states, 24 states. Me and I've talked with my Republican colleagues, white, black. I've talked with my Democratic colleagues, and they've all agreed that, or friends, I should say, they've all of us agree that we should be legal amongst my age group. By the way, not I don't really just got friends in my age group,
I
but we
mean,
all
shit.
agree.
I mean, if you're gonna get into it, you might as well just move to a state that is already legal, or move to a country that is already
So I
legal. If
have
you want to
to,
get into the trade, I mean, it's a very profitable
and that and that's
trade
the
to get
crazy
in.
and that's the craziness of it, right? Because 24, damn near half the country has decided this is legal, right? This is fine to be legal, or at least have some, or you can be allowed to smoke it or whatever. But at the federal level, it's still illegal, right? It just goes to show you that it's retarded. And if half the country damn near believes it should be legal, it should be
I mean,
legal.
it
Hey,
is what it is.
Pharaoh.
It's not a retarded thing. It's not retarded. It's just what the general public basically wants, because
Right.
the government is not some outside entity. You know, the government is made up by the people. So it's basically the overall consensus of the country is they're half and half, essentially. But
Yeah.
basically, since they already had these outdated ass laws, you know what I'm saying? The process of reneging on all these laws is very, very, it's a delicate process, because now you got to free all these people. And it's like, well, shit, well, we kind of, we can't really renege on all that shit when we got motherfuckers wet signatures on these contracts, on these bonds.
Yeah, and
So
we let
hell
that happen through our consumption at this point. But I want to tell you, Pharaoh, with a joint in my hand, literally blowing smoke out my mouth as we speak. as your conservative peer, I am not for the federal legalization of marijuana.
Why?
Because when things become federally legalized, they become federally regulated. And
Okay,
it would be
so
like
you can
tobacco. It's like
let me say this. You
Facts.
can make a law where it is federally legal, but you can leave it up to the states to how they want to roll it out. Um, like abortion, like the Supreme Court when they reversed Roe v. Wade. Yeah, all that did was knock it down at the federal level and leave it up to the states.
with not
Which
having it federally approved, you kind of don't have to worry about the FDA getting involved. The state, all they're worried about is pretty much the money you make
they're,
from
they're,
it.
they're already
The
involved
the
because they
uh,
already involved.
with the state, they're pretty much worried about how you make money from it, pretty much the trade of it. When it's
No, no,
at the
that's
federal
not
level,
true.
they care about they're more so trying to regulate how you grow it, what you grow it with, who can grow it, and
Well,
yeah, it becomes a lot more privatized.
so
By
Yeah,
my
that's a
state
fact.
legalizing marijuana, I can grow plants in my home or outside of my home without any regulation.
right,
With the federal
so
legalization, there becomes regulation on all of that, and we saw that happen with tobacco. It would
well,
happen. It would be just like tobacco.
Well, I'm
That's
telling you
fact.
this from a perspective of a person who actually works in state government. They also regulate something. They also regulate it, right? It's now depending on your state, it's to how much, right? I mean, I think you live in Virginia, so I'm not, I don't know how much they regulate. I don't follow Virginia's laws or anything like that, but I can tell you for Maryland, they definitely regulated it to a point where it went to a point of yes, you can only have about this much. Yes, it's legal, but you can only have about this much and be carrying this much at so and so time, right? And that's just to give you a brief, very brief little understanding of how
I
it's
mean, I
regulated.
understand
So
that, and I'm not
regulation,
disputing that.
okay, and
When
Lo, you gotta let me finish. So
you're
it's like
speaking to points that
I mean,
go
but you
ahead.
just said, I'm telling you, you're saying that if it becomes legal at the federal level, it's going to be all these regulations. I promise you, it would not be. I promise you, it would just all they would have to do is make it legal because it becomes a problem when people are trying to get contracts, right, with the federal government, or when people are trying to get jobs at the federal government. Like it's just bullshit because many people, and it's really a law for I don't know how old you are,
You
but
must not know what happened with tobacco. It would be just like
no one,
tobacco.
tobacco's terrible for you. Like that shit shouldn't be legal anyway. Like no one I know smokes
It's not that
tobacco.
tobacco is terrible for you. It's the process. What happens with the processing of tobacco, and the reason that processing happens is because of the federal legalization of it, because of the federal regulation on it. So
Exactly.
now,
Just the federal
Because
give
yes, the
think about
states
it like this.
can.
Like, my bad. Go ahead, Lo.
Yes, the
so
states can
honestly
come
so
in
low.
and
I
try
could
to
argue
hold on.
I,
Yes, the states can come in and try to have regulation on how you grow it and things like that. But they don't care. They really all they care
I
about is
think it
taxing
depends.
you on it.
So low, I think it depends on the law, right? Like because I promise you there are states that, like, for instance, the opposite argument could be made for abortion, right? Like, all the Supreme Court did was strike it down, saying that it was no longer unconstitutional or constitutional or
We
whatever,
can't
right?
compare a
Hold on, you
service
keep
to a
cutting me
crop.
off. Hold on, it's not a service, right? It's about we're talking about rights, right? We have the right to smoke because that's literally
Yo, you
That's
what
always move the
you moving
goalposts.
the
We're talking
goalposts
not
about a
again,
moving the
bro.
you
goalposts.
are
Yeah,
absolutely
you
moving the
is, bro.
goalposts, and you absolutely
Bro,
do.
This is
To compare
how we
a
go
let
from
me
service
finish. Can
how
I
to
we
compare
finish?
an
dog,
Can I
unnatural
please
service to
finish?
a natural
Oh my
substance that grows
god.
out of the earth.
how we wait, but listen, we started on
To
slavery,
compare
the
an abortion to
Oh
Constitution.
my
tomatoes.
god.
We
This is
went from
not
slavery. Listen, no, this is how you think, bro. We went from slavery to the
okay.
Constitution
We started
to
with race. We started with
Tulsa
race.
riots. Listen to the Tulsa riots, and then we went from the Tulsa riots
Because you're not
to
letting me finish my point, 100.
nigga.
Yeah, I have not let
Because
me.
you're
I
You
won't
moving
even.
the
keep making
I'm
goalpost,
a
not moving.
dude.
different
Now
point.
I'm moving the goalpost when I tell you how
You
it
Every
have
actually
time you
works.
been. That's
respond, it's a
how you.
different
That's what
point,
you've
and then
been
you don't
doing.
even be arguing against the points that we're actually making.
You're
That's what.
sitting up here. Let me tell you. You're sitting up here trying to tell me how things work, and I'm telling you for a fact this is how it actually works,
What's the
and you
difference
still think
between me
you're
telling
right.
you? What's the
You're
difference
telling me
between me
that if a
telling
law
you?
passes at the federal level, that there's going to be all these regulations, right? I told you the same argument can be, it depends on the law, right? The same argument, Lo, could be made that all the federal government would need to do is just legalize it, right? And then they can leave it up to the states. The same way they did it for abortion, right? For abortion, all the federal government did was allow the woman's right to choose, right? Supreme Court struck it down, right? Now states are putting endless fucking regulations on what women can do or if they want to get an abortion, right? That's
The
that's
federal
literally
government
what
can literally do that with everything. It's already done with
it.
marijuana. The states are
But I'm
legalizing
telling you,
marijuana, but it's legal. It's federally illegal. What are you talking about? It's all that is already happening. Can you actually speak to the points that are being said?
you don't.
He
I
got
don't think
a.
you know what points you're talking about. Like,
Nah,
I'm
You're
not
t-
trying to be
she's right
rude.
though.
you're
Go
She's
ahead.
talking
right though.
about something that is
Hold
already happening that we already acknowledge. The federal government.
You no, what you said was this. You said I told you that it could rework. It could work
I've
in the
been
opposite
beginning to
way.
question your critical thinking skills.
on.
You can
Nah,
question them
don't
all
say.
you want, but I promise you they work just
He got
fine. At the
ADD, attention deficit disorder. It's hard for him to focus on one thing. It be like that sometimes.
this fucking dude.
Yeah, I missed you too, bro. I missed you too. You can say what's up to me,
I
bro.
didn't miss you at all. Trust me.
I, I ain't mad at you, my guy. Like I missed you too, bro.
I didn't miss you at all.
It's
But go
okay.
ahead.
I've developed a terrible condition of ADD.
Yeah, we understand, bro. It's a support system right here, man. We got you,
Listen.
man.
I
Okay.
don't. He
What
does. I don't.
Listen. The insults or something. But anywho, like y'all are funny.
They're
Uh,
only insults if you take them as such.
Look, I'm not trying to insult you though, but you have been
oh,
going
trust me. I
all
don't. I
around the
don't feel it.
world with it.
Oh no, I'm responding to
All
Lowe's.
around the world.
I'm responding to Lowe's points, right? First, she talked to me. She wants to lecture me on how the federal government actually works. When I have friends in Congress, when I actually look at laws on a daily basis. But go ahead and cook.
She could
Um,
have friends too.
right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Who
I don't
you
have
the
to
only
sit
one with
here and
friends?
go down a list of accolades to validate what I'm
Oh, it's not
saying.
accolades. It's just truth and facts. Like
So just
honestly,
because you have friends,
Okay.
but
I
just
have
because
trust
friends
me.
you
and
say you have
family
friends,
that work in government. I look at laws every day too. What's next?
Okay.
so yeah, so
All
it
I'm
doesn't
saying,
make it
listen,
more
you question
authoritative.
my critical thinking skills, but I mean, when I say that, it's a problem. So, like I said, I say that to say that, like, it's a
Based on
difference
these
between how
conversations with you, I do question them.
I always, not only that, I always have lectures and discussions with actual legal experts. Oh, most of my friends are lawyers,
They
and I
your
always
friend
have
for
this.
real? Bring them on the stage and let's talk to them
Oh, I couldn't bring them in these
because
spaces.
they ain't
Trust me.
your friends. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
No,
because they
if
ain't
you
I
your
think
work
friends.
that,
directly with legal
Yeah,
experts. We
because they
can
ain't your
stop.
friends.
We can
most
literally stop with the accolades, and we can stop with the personal
okay,
attributes in order to
it's
validate
not
our
personal
opinions.
attributes. It's
You
not
was
trying to
just
validate
clout. You
anything.
straight clout chasing. What's the name of your Congress friends? If since they're your friends, I want to
The,
email them and say and ask them about you.
I give you
You got
I
these
just
friends that you don't like to
actually
claim. I like this.
no, I went to a friendsgiving with him literally the other day. I'm not gonna tell you his name out of respect for his privacy, but at the end of the
Right.
day, like I mean, at the end of the day, like it
But
just is what
what
it
state
is.
is he in?
Believe
What
it or not.
state? What state and what is he running for?
Oh,
What's his position?
he works in Congress. He's not
Oh, he's
running
in
for
Congress.
anything. Yeah, he works in Congress. There's a difference. He
Oh,
works
he
for
works
members.
in Congress. Oh, so
Yeah,
he's a
he works.
janitor in the Congress
Uh,
building.
oh, if
All
you
right.
think he's definitely not a
He's a,
janitor,
so
but
you could
he
be a
works.
janitor
Hold on, but
working in the building where
If
Congress
this is
people
what we're
work.
gonna do, Pharaoh,
he
I was
works for one of the most
mentored by
powerful
Judge Joe
members
Brown.
in Congress.
If this is what we're doing, Pharaoh, I was mentored by Judge Joe Brown. What's
And I'm
next?
happy. Well, okay
What's
then.
next?
So
Are we
ask
having
Judge.
a dick measuring
No, that's
contest?
great.
Because I
It's
promise
not dick
mine is bigger.
measuring. I
Oh my
promise you,
God.
it's not dick measuring. What I want you to know is that ask him about federal legislation on weed legalization. Ask him about it and tell me what he says. Because I'm all
She
for it.
explained
I
that.
would like to ask your friend about it. Where your friend at?
She literally explained what the federal legislation was on weed. She just explained that shit, man.
Yeah.
She explained.
Well,
She explained that.
I didn't bring those up to further validate. I'm just saying, Lo, that if we're going to get into conversations, being credible about these things are important and understanding them are important. Not saying you don't. I'm just saying that like we have to be open to understanding. Everything I say is not incorrect, and everything you say is not incorrect. I'm at a point where I can understand that, right? I mean, I'm not trying to win an argument here. I'm trying to have a genuine discussion about the state of Black America.
That I
But
don't believe.
it.
Talking
Genuine.
about belief, that I do not believe.
you don't believe what in particular?
I don't believe that you understand that everything that you say is not necessarily correct. I don't believe
Well, that's
that
fine. You
you
can
are
believe
here
what
to
you
have
want.
genuine conversation and not argue. I don't believe that you're open to all information.
That's
But again,
fine. You
this is
could.
my belief, right? I can
Yeah,
believe
you.
that, right?
Hey, we have the right to do that. You have the right to that. So at the end of the day, if you want to believe, but you can believe whatever you want to believe in this country. That's why I love America. But Article 1, Section 1 of our as First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, right? I have the right to believe technically what I want to believe, right? Don't mean it's factual, don't mean it's correct, right? But more power to you. And because I believe my belief, I put that under the religion aspect of the amendment, in my opinion, right? That's what I do.
Oh
So
man,
religion can be
There's a
whatever the
certain
hell you
point
want
where
it to be.
that becomes a mental condition called delusion, and
Yeah. Hey,
they have institutions for that.
well,
yo,
I'm pretty sure that I do
yo,
a fair enough background research on health. So I think if I had a mental disorder or if I'm delusional, I think it would have showed up by now. Just saying, just saying. So not sure what they
Mhm.
got in
I guess
not sure
it.
what
I
they
guess
got
that's
in
how it works.
Virginia though. Not sure what they got in Virginia. It's not the best state. Trust me.
What is you talking about? They got the most
Virginia, not the
brightest
best
people in
state.
from Virginia. Fuck is you talking about?
People come
Gotcha.
here specifically for our doctors in Northern Virginia.
that's
Gotcha.
beautiful. That's good to
Yeah,
know.
and I know about it because my people from Virginia. My grandfather is from Virginia, and he's one of the brightest people I ever known.
I actually think we interesting. That's good to know that your peoples are from Virginia 100. I'm glad.
Nah, brilliant people, the most brilliant people. While you was
Oh,
over there trying to,
I
while
didn't
you was
say
over there trying to shit, while you was over there trying to shit on Virginia, low key.
Oh, no. I never said anything bad about the Virginia
Nah,
people.
nah, don't
I
walk it
have
back now. Don't walk it
no,
back.
I'm not
Don't
about
walk that
walking it
shit
back.
back.
I'm not
Don't
What
walk
would
walking
that
it
this
back.
fucking
country
shit
be
back, bro.
without Virginia?
Don't walk it back.
Listen, I have family in Virginia. So it's
Country road,
military vets. So I
take
love
it.
this. I
I
would
don't
go out to
believe
their
you.
house.
What part of Virginia are they in?
Oh damn.
You don't even know the county. Man,
Hold
See, he don't know
on.
his family. Why he
man,
don't even talk to his family?
No,
man.
I talked to
He
no
only
my
talks to his
He,
grandma on
oh
Thanksgiving.
is it it's Newport News. Newport News, Virginia. Um
Mm,
You know who that's named after.
he went and googled that shit real quick.
I've never done
But you know
history on
American
you.
history.
Oh, do I know all American history? I'm pretty sure you don't. So I mean, at the end of
I
the
don't
day,
think you know any American history,
It's named after Christopher Newport.
bruh. You
wasn't he
really
like
did
a
try to
hold on?
come in
Wasn't
here.
he big?
He spun the argue. He spun the
Okay, I
argument
think
five
actually,
times,
I think
all because
if
he
my
tried
memory
to say
serves,
the
my
Constitution. He
damn.
spun no, no, no. He spun the argument five times, all
That,
because we caught this nigga trying to say that black people were 3/5 of a human being in the Constitution in 1790.
well,
He
I
ain't even
was
know
quote.
that the
Well,
word
first off,
black ain't even in the Constitution. He
excuse me.
ain't even know that shit.
Excuse me. So I was quoting the article.
what
And
article?
even
Yeah,
Article
you
what?
was quoting an article, but you was basing it off of a historical document and making a whole point about the document, which that shit It never said any of that shit that you were talking about
So,
in that specific
so
document.
I was quoting the
So that
I was
people
quoting the
whoever you
article.
were
Okay.
referring to, that shit was straight propaganda,
So
bro.
most
That
slaves in
article
the
needs some
country,
kind of peer review. Like I thought these were scholarly conversations we were having.
most slaves in the South were black.
Most people
And
in the
the
South were
problem.
black.
Okay, so just let me say my piece, and I'll let you say your piece. So why I arrived and why I support the conclusion that black people were 3/5 of slave. Let me explain it. Right. So 1790, the country, most black people were slaves in the country. Right. Keyword most. And
That's
because
not
of
true. That's not
Okay,
true.
I can't look, please, just allow me to finish. Then you can say it's not true all you want. I just want to give 100 context of how I and why I support what I read in the document, right? So in 1790, most black people in the country were slaves, right? And because they wanted people in the South, and because they primarily occupied the South, right? They wanted congressional. The Southern slave masters, were not getting votes passed. They weren't getting enough seats because they wanted congressional representation in Congress, right? So they could not classify black people as a full human. So, but in order to, I guess, as a 3/5 compromise with the Northern and Southern people, they decided to classify black people as 3/5, or three out of every five people a person, or 3/5 a person, or what have you.
What article is this, bro? What article? Where is this
This
specific
is the
in the
National Library of Medicine and Biotechnology, right? Uh,
National Library? I'm gonna look that up.
this was about 23. I will say the study was. I'm sorry.
Medicine, nothing, bro. And
Yeah. So
biotechnology.
that it's a pretty credible. I would say the
They didn't
only.
stick to medicine. They need to stick to
And
medicine.
Well, the
what
document was on the medicine. It was about health, black disparities in health,
Well, that's
which is
some
a
bullshit
okay.
because they are commenting because look, that's bullshit. Then that means they interpreted the Constitution document wrong.
Well,
If
did you
they're
read
This
the
basing it off
article?
goes
some
Did you
back
read
images.
the?
to race.
Did
If
you
the
read? Did
subject
you
of the
read
Look,
the
matter,
article? Did you
this
read the
goes back
article?
to race. If the subject of the matter
About
is
10 pages.
black people,
Did you read it?
if this goes back to race, if the subject of the matter is black people, again, who is black? This is
So, and
black people by classification are not this one monographic set of people.
and there we get to this question of what, like, once we go back to this question of belief, right? Like, you believe that. I don't necessarily believe that. And it's okay for us to have two differences of opinion on it. But what I will say is that we can
Why
go,
is
listen,
that
low,
when
let me finish this. We can go until we're blue in the face about what race is, right, in this country. When we all have agreed, first and foremost, that we all understand that race doesn't exist, right? And I'm just telling you that right now. We can argue till we're blue in the face about that. But one thing we cannot deny is that there are real economic hindrances that are in place because of this made up ideology of race, right? And then I mean, you got to understand, if you treat somebody as chattel for however long, because it's true, regardless of what you think, there is very real factors of why certain
your
groups.
contradiction is when you say you acknowledge that race is not based on who you are genetically or what you are genetically, and then say that this system is made up or it's classified based on race, but then you go back to that this racial system is affecting the people genetic based on what they are genetically, when again
When
and
did
this
I ever
goes
say
and
that?
this
I've
because
never
you
said
keep
anything
going
about
back to
genetics.
what
Like, you
because you're
keep bringing
going,
that up.
but when you talk about black people you are talking about people that look a certain way. You're talking
Yeah,
about
I mean, yeah,
people
I gotta dance
exact.
around that because I'm not
That's
sure
where
what
the
you
contradiction
guys.
and the misunderstanding comes in. And then to what you first said about what I
What?
believe, that's not something that I believe. That's something I see happening when people who come to this country are as darker than me, 3 times, 10 times darker than me, and are classified as white. I see it happening when I go fill out the census, or I go to the DMV to renew my license, and I have the ability to choose how I want to identify.
And that's fine. You can choose how you want to identify, but if you're black, I mean, we have statistics that black houses are depreciated or not valued as much as white households, right? I mean,
And
you can
those
put that on
statistics are
there.
based on people that classify as black. That is not definitive of the meaning that they are dark skinned. Though that, you know who's in those statistics? My eighth grade white teacher, who is a Caucasian woman who immigrated from South Africa. That is the point that I am making. In those statistics are people who look Caucasian, just like in those statistics of people who were classified as white are people who look as what you would call
So
Negro or black.
let me ask you this: Why were the so? And I'm being honest, seriously, right now. If you really think this idea of racism has no detrimental factors to a specific group in the United States, right? Why is the Ku Klux Klan still at large, which we know is a white supremacist
This is another
organization?
spin.
Excuse me. I just want to
Hey,
finish
hold
this.
on. Fuck
Hold on.
out of here.
Hold
I'm the
on,
host.
bro.
Moving the
I'm the
goalposts
fucking
again.
listen. I'm the host, brother. You spun it again. You're going to the
I
KKK.
spun it
It's a
again
different.
by
Yeah,
asking
you're
her a
going.
question. You gonna let me ask the question?
Yeah, we're spinning into a different topic. I'm gonna
Okay.
show you
So
it's
no,
different.
it all relates back to what I'm saying. So
What you're saying is, I bet you don't
I
know.
so did
Okay,
you
Do
guys
I'm gonna
people
let
ask
you
the
talk.
exist
I'm gonna
that
let him
look a
talk. No, no,
certain
no.
way
God,
that
He wants
dude?
to talk. No, no, Lo. He wants to talk about the KKK. Go ahead and talk about the
So did you
KKK,
just
Pharaoh.
like ignore my first sentence that came out of my mouth before I
Go
even
ahead
got
and
to the
talk about the
KKK?
KKK.
No,
Go
no.
ahead,
I said
spin
since
doctor.
hold on, excuse me. I said since we're gonna sit up here and ignore, specifically referring to Low. Excuse me. Since we're going to sit up here and ignore that racism doesn't have is not a hindrance to a specific group within this country, let's bring up the Ku Klux Klan, right?
All right,
Right, which
let's
we
go.
know. You did you get my first sentence though? Right? Do I need to repeat it third time before I?
Let's
Because
go. Let's
all you
go
seem to
right
be,
now. Let's go.
all you seem to be hearing is Ku Klux Klan, but
Let's
you
go.
just keep failing to hear my first part. But anywho, I'll continue.
Come on.
Uh,
Keep
so
talking.
so for the audience, I'll say it one more time, just for everybody's on the same page. Since we're going to sit up here and ignore, right, that race isn't a hindrance to a group in to a specific group within the United States, which will most likely be Black Americans. I'm going to bring up the Ku Klux Klan, who is an actual stated white supremacist organization that have terrorized people of darker skin color, right?
Mm,
Specifically Black Americans, descendants of
mm,
chattel slavery. Why are they still allowed to operate at large? Literally, I just saw a video on Twitter 2 days ago.
really?
Watch about Nazis and white supremacist organization marching down
Mm,
the streets. It's all maybe two different things, but basically most KKK members are Nazis or believe in such things or in the same group. They aren't classified. They aren't. It's not outlawed. Nothing. But the Black Panther group was accosted, illegal, and infiltrated and taken down by a United
The
States
Black
government,
Panther
federal government
was with
organization.
CIA operative. You can't compare them.
All right, y'all. All right.
The proof is there.
She just
Oh,
answered your
sweet
question, man.
Jesus. Sweet
She just
Jesus.
and you laugh, and you would laugh at it like it's impossible
And
or
this is what
something.
I
I
mean
mean,
by,
it just,
Like
but no, no, no,
he
hold on.
comical.
laughs at
This
it like it's
It's
impossible.
And this is why I
but
say
Like
it's
that's
I don't
funny.
comical.
believe
Like
when you
the
say you're
hurdles.
here to have genuine questions or open to
Cause
information. Because, like
this
I
is
told you before, when I have these conversations and I hear something that I disagree with or something that I sounds off to me, I go and look into it. If I don't find whatever I'm looking for or I find an opposing, I then present it and then I get understanding from that. You just because I said something that doesn't sound like the norm to you, you just laugh it off and you can't say you're having a scholarly conversation when in conversation you're not actually questioning and researching what you're hearing. You're just disagreeing with it and arguing it.
Yeah, he's not
Okay,
really
so
like
I take an
he just
objective
wants to
view.
respond. He just
So
wants
I
to
take
respond. It's not like
so I
listening to
take
comprehend.
so I take
Go
an
ahead, bro.
objective.
Hey,
So I
can you let the brother speak? I mean, he hasn't got a chance to really speak for real.
Yeah, like one thing about law, I appreciate how you could just, simplify and articulate things. One thing as a human, I think everybody should have this trait. It's to we need simplification, and Lo does that very well. But I noticed the other person just you complicate things, you go around the goalpost like everybody's saying, and it's like, damn, bro, like you could actually add on, but you don't. It seems like you just subtract from the important shit that she's saying. This is what I'm noticing, you know what I mean? Because I come over here to listen, bro, but you're not really
do
saying
you?
much. Like I do, bro. I was mad quiet, bro. I just want to like listen, and you're talking about a whole bunch of nothing. You said the Black Panther Party. She said it was CIA operative, and you started laughing. Like that's not funny. It's
Did you
not
just
funny
like
about that.
miss my? Did you like miss my entire first part of my central point, and then bringing up the comparison between the Ku Klux Klan and the Black Panther Party, and then how the
Yeah,
United
she
States
answered.
government? Oh, hold on, excuse me. And how the United States government fits into that, or are you just gonna, or you all you heard was the Black Panther Party part?
She answered it by saying it's CIA
So
operative,
no, no,
and
no, no, no.
that's
You're not answering my question. I asked you, did you hear? Right? Did you hear? Not about what Lo said and how she responded. Did you
right.
hear what I said
Hmm.
about the central point? Right? And I'll reiterate it to you again. Right? I'll say
Right.
this one more time. And we're going to sit
Okay.
up here and act like race doesn't have actual hindrance, doesn't actually hinder a specific group in this country, which are Black Americans, right? And
Hmm.
the Ku Klux Klan is still
Hmm.
allowed, right, historically and present day, to operate at large. But the Black Panther Party, an
That's not true.
organization that, excuse me, let me finish. The Ku Klux Klan, it is very true. They're protected, which is
No,
insane.
it's not. You're
Okay.
just an outright lie. If they're
Okay.
protected, then why are many KKK members in jail?
So let me say this, because
Answer the question.
most happen to be criminals, right? But when we talk about
Man, all right.
excuse me, but the Black Panther Party
See,
was
which KKK members are at
the
large?
the
Which ones
Black
are
Panther.
you?
The
Which
I'm talking
K?
about
No, Pharaoh.
so
Fuck out of here. Which KKK members are at
so
large right now?
historically, the Ku Klux Klan.
No,
You're
Pharaoh.
not. This is not
Which
a real serious
KKK
fucking
members are at
conversation
large?
because this guy
Answer the
is
direct question.
insane, dude.
I'm not gonna let you dance around that question. Which KKK members are you actually talking about that are at large right now? Fuck out of here. Don't dodge my question. You make a statement, I'm gonna hold you to it. Which KKK member is at large right fucking now?
So you're not asking me a serious question. That's what
I
you're
am
not
asking
doing.
you a serious question because not every white person is part of the KKK. So how do you know who's part of the KKK?
So the comparison I was making was the Ku
You
Klux Klan.
said KKK
Yeah.
members are at large. How the fuck do you know particularly that is a KKK member that is at large?
So
Explain it to me.
somebody's still walking around. You weren't around when you
How do
saw
you
them
research
still.
that? How do you research that?
So yeah, to your point, it's actual FBI statistics that hate crimes and that white supremacy groups actually increased during the reign of Trump, or the reign during the
Do you
Trump
know why the
presidency.
Ku Klux
Dude,
Klan
See,
was formed?
I keep
Oh,
getting cut
I'm
off.
sorry.
I'm
I'm
making
sorry.
my
Go ahead.
point.
My bad.
So 100 sat up here and asked me a question about how do I know they're still at large. So it's FBI statistics, and you can Google them. I'm not going to do that for you.
okay.
There are FBI statistics and it's actually a very good documentary on HBO Max that will outline it for you, that white supremacist organizations and hate crimes went up during the Trump presidency. And so my comparison was this 100, because you like to jump to fucking conclusions and not let me finish. My point was being this. If the Ku Klux Klan historically and present day is still allowed to operate at large, but a black organization, or in quotation marks, a black supremacist organization, was hunted down, infiltrated, and taken out by a United States government institutions, they are not still able to. They are wiped out. Much of it are leadership. Now let's look at what two of those groups were doing and the ideologies behind them. Right, the Ku Klux Klan was an ideology based in white supremacy, and they wanted segregation. The Black Panther Party, for the most part, was for the betterment overall, for the betterment of the black community, and took a more resistance, liberation stance and resistance stance against the United States government. The United States government saw them as a threat and took them out, but they don't classify the Ku Klux Klan as the same, or white supremacist organizations as the such, even when they see a major increase in hate crimes to this day based off those organizations. That's the comparison I'm making.
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead,
Right?
tell
Lo.
you
Because
why.
let
I'm
me
Go
tell
gonna
you
ahead.
tell
something.
you
Those
why.
Go
organizations.
I'm
ahead,
gonna
Lo.
I'm gonna tell
Here we
you
go.
why. Because
Here
the
we
Ku
go.
Klux Klan was not started as a white
All right.
supremacist
Well,
organization.
you go to a Ku Klux Klan rally, and I want to see if you spout that bullshit. You're gonna look
Okay,
crazy.
okay,
Can
And
I
I
Pharaoh.
know
can
they
I
got
but
Pharaoh.
some
I
We just sat
immigrants
listen.
there.
in ya.
We
I
just sat there
listen.
quietly. Listen, Pharaoh. We sat there quietly and listened to you talk your shit. Let Lo talk her shit. With respect. With respect.
I'm not dismissing any white supremacists, but the reason why that is what you said is because the Ku Klux Klan was not started as a white supremacist organization. It was started by Confederate officers who were pretty much mad that slavery was abolished when their slaves and the system of slavery was their economic system and their assets. They were against it was actually they were I have it right here. I can put it in the jumbotron.
Hmm.
From 1866, Klansmen engaged. The first campaign was of terrorist violence against abolitionists, unionists, loyal state government agents, and federal officers in the South.
Excuse me.
This was after, shortly after the ending of the Civil War, when the Union and the Confederacy joined, and slavery was abolished. It did not start in the foundation of the KKK. Was not
Well, I
white
wouldn't say the
was not white
Confederacy was joined, but
was not white supremacy.
Hey,
so how
quick
things
question.
are in practice.
And this is why I'm sorry. There was one more point that I was going to make, and I almost forgot. This is why I think it's important for us to understand the system of slavery,
Okay,
because
so
we're going to have this notion towards it, this race based feeling towards it,
So the
even
Ku
when we
Klux
go
Klan is
over
a
the fact.
race-based organization that believes in white supremacy and that segregation of races. They are the very perpetrators or people that adhere to this ideology of racism. Um, Regardless of how it
The
was
Ku
formed.
Klux Klan's
Excuse
first
me,
campaign
excuse me.
was against abolitionists, unionists, and obviously anyone who was against the abolishment of slavery, labor unions, and government. That has
So
nothing to do with white supremacy. Could white
regardless,
supremacists be in that? Absolutely.
Hey, quick question. Quick question, Pharaoh. Quick question.
go ahead.
This KKK, right? When they started out, were they a Christian organization?
I'm not sure what they were. Or in terms, I mean, you bring up this
Why are we
idea.
speaking on them
Excuse
if
me.
we're not
Excuse me.
Look,
educated
You're not
on
see, if
letting
them?
you
me
know
let
anything,
me
if you
let
know,
me answer the
Why are we
question.
speaking
You
on
stop doing that right there. That right there. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. See, if you knew anything about the KKK today, they are a Christian organization, but they did not start off as that, as Lo was saying, because their holy book was not the Bible, and burning crosses is not Christian.
So
So if
yeah,
you
this
look up
idea
what the
of
KKK is today, they will tell you that it is a white supremacist white extremist hate
you
group
guys are
that
really
is.
defending the KKK, which is
Yeah,
crazy. I mean,
why
me
can't you just
personally,
mute up? Why can't you just mute up and mutter under your voice instead of being disrespectful? You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't you just do that? See,
so
we'll sit here and be quiet and let you talk, and you'll talk forever. You don't even know when to stop. You'll over talk, but we'll still let you talk. And as soon as you stop talking and we start responding to what you're saying and we bring up a point, you'll immediately cut us off and it is so fucking annoying because you still haven't learned. But the KKK originally was not this white supremacist organization that, you know what I'm saying, that it is today. Just like it's just like the swastika symbol. The swastika symbol was not always a symbol of hate. That symbol came from indigenous people. You know what I'm saying?
The Confederate flag.
And the Confederate, I was just going to say the Confederate flag as well. That shit came from indigenous people. That was a battle flag.
Okay,
but then it's propagated as this white supremacist symbolism, which is historically false.
well,
Are you
those,
familiar with the
well,
Ku Klux Klan Act? Since because I like to make these conversations learning opportunities when you especially when you're speaking on, I guess, the government allowing them to do stuff. There was the Enactment Acts, the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, in which the Senate passed acts to pretty much put force against the KKK because they would not stand down on slavery. They would not stand down on all of their acts. So they had 3 different force acts between 1870 and 1871.
so what point are you making? So this by very definition, the fact that they even had to pass those acts, right? The fact that they even, because let's be honest here, you can
You were
look at
saying
the
that they
act,
didn't consider them to be a hate group, and pretty much saying that the government
right?
allowed
So
them
the very
to.
reason they passed those acts was because they were murdering innocent African Americans, public officials, and white sympathizers in the previous Confederate States of America. So the fact that even though that act more than likely did go into place, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not familiar with it. I'm not sure if it necessarily just passed in the Senate or if it actually even became law. But let's just say it did. If it is
It
public
became
law,
law.
okay, it became law. Then why did hate crime in the name of white Confederacy or white supremacist organizations? It's still technically, why did hate crimes go up during the presidency of Trump, right? Why did we still see that symbol being used, right? And not very swift action was taken against them, right? Why do we still see that?
Because these symbols have been, what is the word?
Adopted by white supremacist organizations. Is that what you want
Well,
to say?
That may
well,
be
time
true,
out.
but go ahead,
I'm
Reverend.
sorry. I'm sorry. He said, why are the hate crimes going up?
And I wasn't even going to address the psychological operations that he keeps bringing up, but to this point, why did you bring up the KKK in the first place? That is the reason I'm bringing this up. Do you remember why you brought the KKK up in the first place?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Do you remember why you brought the KKK up?
I do, because I don't. They were still allowed to act at large.
How are they allowed to act at large any more or less than the Black Panther Party? Since you wanted
So
to
I'm gonna
compare
go
them.
ahead and state
Since
this
you
point. It
wanted
said
to
the
compare
statute.
them,
So
excuse
it's
me,
say
hold
that
on.
again.
Since you wanted to compare them, how are they allowed to act any more or less at large than the Black Panther Party?
Black Panther Party was wiped out.
I just saw a
Infiltrated,
party march a Black Panther Party
infiltrate,
march last year.
infiltrated, and destroyed. I would argue by the United States government.
And you could say the same thing about the KKK when it comes to white supremacists.
I disagree.
As a matter of fact, the founder of the KKK, they took his ass to jail. Not the founder, but the new. Hold on. Matter of fact, one of the KKK leaders, he was in jail.
What's your point? I'm curious.
The
It
point
doesn't matter.
is
You
the
could
point.
still be the founder of
David
a
Duke.
organization.
David Duke founded the new KKK, founded by David Duke in 1975. These are the Knights of the Ku Klux
Why,
Klan
why did he go to jail?
because he was a criminal.
Okay, he committed a crime and he went to jail.
Just saying. I mean,
Every
But a
comparison that
but
you're
a
that's
making
hate
why
about the K,
criminals go to jail.
Every
That's why they.
comparison that you're making about the KKK can be made about the Black Panther Party.
Interesting.
And even though I said that it was a CIA operative, you wanted to bring it up. So again,
You're really gonna die on this hill that the KKK and the Black Panther Party are both right or left wing extremist organizations. Is that what you're gonna
that's not
die
the
on that?
hill. That's
You
not the
think they
hill that I'm
were?
dying on. That's not the hill.
I'm just
And
very
that's
curious
not
what
even
hill
that
you're.
Hey,
isn't
T,
even the argument. That's not what we're talking about. But you move the goalpost so much that
Uh,
you actually think that's what I'm
now I'm
arguing.
moving the goalposts. Okay,
You move the
you
goalpost
hey,
just
so
sat up
much
here and compared
that you
both
think
organizations.
that's what I'm arguing.
Hey, just for context, real quick, Duke was charged in '72 with soliciting funds for the George Wallace for president campaign and then illegally pocketing the proceeds. He was also charged with breaking the New Orleans ordinance prohibiting filling glass containers with flammable liquid. Both charges eventually were dropped in 1976. He was convicted of inciting a riot and refusing to disperse, the latter charge overturned by Louisiana State Court while he received a suspended sentence, $500 fine, 6 months of probation on the inciting charge. At 87, he was charged with reckless conduct and blocking a highway during an anti-integration march in Cumming, Georgia, given a $55 fine, 1 year suspended prison sentence in 2002, and after spending 2 years abroad avoiding a feared arrest, Duke agreed to return to the United States, pled guilty to felony mail and tax fraud charges, and served 15 months in federal prison, fined 10,000. It don't look like he's just allowed to just, you know what I'm saying, operate freely without, yeah, I mean,
Wait, did
break
you
the
say
law.
he was arrested for blocking a highway for protesting against integration?
Yeah.
And people were also arrested for protesting for integration? I'm starting to think the black they're the birds. They're two
So
birds. What do they call it?
the
Two
man
wings
with
of the
the man.
same bird. They're
So
two wings
let,
of the same. What do they
Two
call it?
wings of the same bird.
Two wings
so
of the
let me.
same bird. The white supremacists and the black power people are no different than the freaking Democrats and the Republican. One bird, two different wings.
What the?
Did you just say that?
So
No,
let
no,
me.
no. This makes me question.
Okay,
I'm
I
sorry,
can't
Pharaoh. Now, is it
finish
the
my question.
government? Is it the government? Again, because you were talking about back to what we were actually arguing about the government being against this particular group of people. When he just said people were arrested for integration, for protesting against integration, and people were also arrested for protesting for integration.
So the way protests work is
Oh my
how
gosh, the argument is not about protests,
I
but
know, but I'm just saying that like I think context would do the conversations a great deal of understanding. So for one,
How many
yeah.
protests
so
have
now
you
we're
been?
going to talk about
So
protests.
No,
once
no. How
again,
many protests have you been to?
no. I would
How
like
many
to
protests have you
address.
been
Excuse me.
How many
Um,
protests have you been to?
Me, I've been about two.
Which ones?
Which ones?
Yes. Which year? What happened?
I'm not disclosing the protests
You know,
I've been to.
like
I
and
thought
now
you wanted to be a
history.
politician.
You the fakest politician ever. You can't even talk about any of your
Yeah, I
campaigns or
mean,
any of
He
I
can
don't
only
think it's
tell us that he
relevant.
you
has
can't
friends
even
in
talk about
Congress.
people that you're affiliated with that are
Oh,
in
you don't think
Congress.
it's relevant, but you asked me what I do for a living.
And then we're
And
supposed
you
to just
decline not to tell
believe
me.
you.
Same way
And
I'm declining not to tell
we're
you.
just supposed to take your word for it.
So
And
hold
these
on, excuse me.
motherfuckers, you just keeping a secret about their identity. And we're just supposed to take your word for it though. Because,
Excuse me.
you're Pharaoh.
Let me finish. Listen, let me finish up my the sentence I was trying to make. So the gentleman that was a leader in the Ku Klux Klan got arrested because he was committing actual crimes. He was committing those crimes, and the fact that the organization, and my point was being the fact that the organization is even allowed to operate after it is confirmed to be a hate organization, and the
It's
beginning of the organ,
constitution.
excuse the
That
fact
is,
and the
I already
It's
told, I
constitutional
explained to you why it's allowed to still operate. I just explained that to you.
hate. You can't commit hate speech, but you can operate a hate organization.
You
That
that's
seems
like
very
The
controlling
logical.
what
Ku
people
Klux
that's like
Klan.
how is that not controlling what people say?
We're about to pull up the Ku Klux
That's
Klan's mission
that's a
statement.
violation. That's a violation of the Second Amendment. Do you believe that we should have the Second
Y'all
Amendment
Oh
going
right
yeah,
now?
really
we
hard for.
have the right to, what do they call it? Exactly how it's worded. Pretty much come together. What is it
Right,
called?
the right to assemble. Right to assemble,
Pharaoh, why can't
and
people
that's
The
just
right
under
to
hate
assemble.
Pharaoh?
and that's
Why
under
can't no
protesting.
no no? Let's talk about it. Why can't people just hate other people? Like why can't that just be just because you hate somebody
Because when
doesn't
you start
mean
to put, it's nothing wrong with your right to hate someone, but after the organization
yeah.
was an organization that has actually acted on hate, it kind of is
Okay,
bad.
but
Do
you're
you
gonna have
disagree?
to actually
But
pull up
their
the actual.
actions.
You'll have to actually pull up that crimes that they actually committed. You
But
know what I'm
that's not
saying?
the argument. We're arguing what they hated and what they were acting against.
Right.
And so to bring this back to what we were actually discussing, they were not acting against black people. They were
All right,
acting
Lo. I
against.
don't. I'm genuinely
Dude,
like,
I'm sorry that you don't
after
want
you
to
see
acknowledge
the
the
after
history
you
of the
see
Ku Klux
it's
Klan.
not after you saw the law passed
Hold
by
on.
the United States
Hold on.
government,
Look,
you still
I'm gonna
say,
show a
bro.
black man I'm gonna
The
show a
law
black
was
man.
not passed
Look,
because
Oh
of
my
their violence
god, this
against
is
black people. The law was passed because of their violence against abolitionists, unionists, and loyal federalists, pretty much.
you're gonna leave out African Americans. That's what you're
Well,
gonna
if
do.
you're an abolitionist and you're a slave that's now freed, yes, but black people, some black people were included in that, but their mission was not
Why are
out
you
to
dancing
fucking
around
just
this?
kill black people.
You see, look,
Is
if
that
you're
what they
right,
is that
if you're
what
right,
they
I have.
represent today?
Let me
Have
say
they
this.
may have, oh Lord Jesus, have
Why
they
is
may
it?
been infiltrated just like the CIA? But I'm not even getting at that. I don't care whether they were or they weren't. But the point that I'm making is it has nothing to do with black people ultimately.
Okay, we just have to agree to disagree on that, sister.
so why? How is it that black people? How is it that you have black people that were part of the KKK?
You know, honestly, I just think those brothers are gone. I mean, honest with you on that.
Or
I mean,
maybe
What?
they were. Maybe
What?
listen, I'm
they
Hold
were
saying,
on. Hold
against
on.
abolitionists, they were against unionists, and they were against
brother.
federalists.
Okay,
Thank
and if you
thank
think
you,
the KKK was a primary conduit for
This
you
is
to be
not what
against,
I think. You
dude.
can literally
Joe
look
Rogan
this
had
up.
a dude.
no,
You
Joe
can do
no,
a
Rogan.
I'm
Google
talking
Listen.
search to find
low.
out.
Oh my
It
goodness,
takes 5 minutes of your
low,
time to
low. I'm
find out what these
talking
people
about.
were
I was
fighting
in
against.
reference to the black people that I guess dressed up or were part of the
One
Confederacy.
minute you want to talk about
I mean, the
historical
KKK,
text,
not the
then you want to
Confederacy.
talk about a present text. So then we give you a historical context, and you want to go back to the present text.
Man,
So even if you're
You
talking about,
just here to argue.
the present text,
I just want to
even if it,
argue.
even if you're talking about the present text, Joe Rogan had a black dude on his show that was part of the KKK for some years, and then he ended up leaving the KKK. You know what I'm saying? But like this motherfucker walk around
Was that
had
the
the
dude?
man, he got the hoodie and everything, bruh. Like, yeah.
Was that the black dude? Hold on, I think I know what you're talking about. Hold on.
No,
Yeah,
it's
but
not
a
Ron
lot of that has to
Stallworth.
do
Ron
a lot of it has
Stallworth
to
is
do with state
dead.
rights. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it has to do with basically states' rights. Like
Yeah, so you're
these
talking
people
about
wanted
with
to,
Daryl
these people were
Davis?
God damn, I cannot say a goddamn thing around
Are
you.
you talking about Daryl Davis, the Joe Rogan guy?
Yeah.
That yeah, so he was actually he's not a part of the KKK. He was actually in it to just try to understand them and get them to more or less, he just wanted to more or less understand them. And it's I actually fuck with Daryl Davis. He's actually an
How was
interesting
he a
character.
part of it? How was he able to become a part of it as a black man? How was he able to become a part of
Just
a white
I'm gonna implore
extremist
you
group?
to look at the because he technically wasn't a part of it. He just go look at the video. Like I
Wait,
fuck with
why
Daryl
didn't they
Davis.
kill him? Was he around them? Why didn't they kill him? And this goes to what we were actually arguing.
So just because in present day, um, how the organization started, I just can't believe this is actually a real conversation. But the KKK started as an organization, like you said, Lo, and they did hurt and terrorize African Americans. Pretty sure if somebody put a noose on your door or a Confederate flag on your door, you would think twice about it. But maybe not. I don't
No,
know. You
actually,
guys do
I
live in
would not think
Virginia. You
twice
guys do
about
live
it.
in
No, I
you live in
wouldn't.
Virginia and Texas,
I
so
live in
you
Virginia,
might
and I
be
would not
used
think
to it.
twice about it.
Yeah,
For sure.
and
As a
that is
matter
not,
of
that's
fact,
not something that happens like that.
the
And
Confederate flag waves everywhere. As a matter of fact,
yeah, no, I know we have them in Maryland. Trust me,
I know you do.
I've seen them
When
countless
I
times.
see people and they have it on their car or whatever, and I see them in the store, I ask them why they have it. Just to know.
And what do they say?
They typically say it's because of their family heritage.
Or they'll say like
Okay,
Southern heritage. They'll say something like to that extent. But
got you.
they'll go out of their like look, they'll go out of their way to say it's not racist.
Got you.
They'll
Got
go
you.
out of their way. Like because like you got to look at it like this. If they was as racist as what they would project to us in the media and then in school, then they would just stand on it. You feel me? Like, yeah, man, fuck you niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. Because there's some white people that actually will do that, and they actually do practice it like that. But all white people ain't the same, bro. You gotta take in a location, and you got to take in the type of lifestyle these people are living. Like if you're going to the Midwest and like basically the plains, ain't really shit to do out there, and it'd be cold as fuck in the wintertime. Super, super cold. Winter and fall, super cold out there. And shit, man, these white folks in these small pockets in these little towns, it'd be like 10,000 people, and 95% of them motherfuckers is white. You may come across these some straight up racism, but you got to think about it like, man, it's only 10,000 motherfucking people there.
I thought
And if
racism
they
was a real
all raised
100.
by, and if they all raised by
Oh
some
my
race,
gosh, Pharaoh,
I
you're
thought,
being
but wait,
disingenuous.
no. He
You're
just
being
said
God
you might
disingenuous.
come
damn,
across some
bro,
Now
racism.
you're just
I
being
can't say a
disingenuous.
word. I
You just
can't
said
say
you might
shit,
come across some racism.
You're
Racism ain't
being
real by your
disingenuous.
definition.
bro. But like I said,
Oh,
if
man,
you allow me to
disingenuous
finish,
now.
okay, all right, but you go ahead and cut me off like you've been doing. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you do. You just cut niggas off. Go ahead. I'll mute up.
No,
But
go
I
ahead,
don't
bro.
want you to cut me off. I don't want you to cut me off no more when I fucking
Listen,
talk. Because
hey,
then I'm
man,
gonna cuss you.
I'm listening.
No. I don't want you to cut me off no more because I'm gonna cuss you the fuck out, and I'm gonna really let you have it. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm getting tired of it. Go ahead.
Bro, I just had one question. I thought, you just said you might come across a little bit of racism. I just said, I thought racism wasn't real by y'all definitions, or, didn't have any problems, or, that's all I'm
Nobody
saying,
said
man. That's
racism
all I
wasn't
heard.
real.
Dude, you just don't
You're
know how
being
to listen.
super disingenuous.
You don't know how to listen.
But I
But
got
it's
a
all right.
quick fact for you when it comes to KKK and their, I guess I'd say murders. When it comes to black people, they kill just as many Jews, Catholics, and Christians, and Unionists and abolitionists.
And gays. So they don't just hate black people, they hate a whole lot of people, and even some white people too. And they don't like the white people that are racially mixing with black people. So that would not just be towards black people. So that's a broad spectrum of things. You know what I mean? You're taking just one element of it and just making it all about these people, this, and that, and the third. But once again, if you're going to talk about hate coming from some people, well, fuck all the hate. Talk about the actual crime that was committed. You know what I'm saying? Because the hate is irrelevant. The crime is
And
more
who it
relevant
was
than
committed
the hate.
by.
Thank you. Thank you. These arbitrary people we don't even know they even exist. We just tie them to this organization. I mean, it could be any fucking organization. Oh, by the way, the Trump administration deemed white supremacy as the greatest terrorist threat in the world. So, and also his same administration deemed the KKK as a hate group. So, is is Trump not racist then? Doesn't our government
I wanted to
address
know
it?
if I was able to speak. I wasn't sure if you were done yet. Say your question one more time for me.
I said the Trump administration deemed white supremacy as the greatest terrorist threat on earth. And the same administration deemed KKK as a hate group. So where does that put Trump?
I didn't say
I think I
anything
heard you
about
call
Trump.
Trump a racist before.
You think or do you know? Because I didn't say anything. All I said was that the hate crimes rose, and that their organizations were more or less a conduit of it, and for which they rose, right, under the Trump administration. So
I
that's just
think
a
that was
fact.
propaganda. I think that was straight propaganda from the left media.
Got you. Okay.
That's fake news. Hate crimes real. How the fuck you know? You know what I'm saying? Only way you know it's a hate crime is if they actually verbally, or you know what I'm saying, some way, shape or form, it was verbalized or written down their expressing their hate towards another race.
Okay.
So basically, for instance, for example, if a white person were to shoot you, just to shoot you, it would never be considered a hate crime. You want to know why? Because there's no way to really prove it. But if that white person shot you and called you a nigger with a hard ER and said, you know what, I hate you and other niggers like you, then that could be a hate crime. You know what I'm saying? But what if the motherfucker don't say it and just think it? You feel me? What if, you know what I mean?
So if you want to argue with the FBI, be my guest. I mean, unless
I'm
you
just
got more.
saying,
Hey, if you got more resources than the FBI and you think that the FBI ain't correct, then hey, more power to you. But
this is what happens when you make race.
$100 million
This is what happens when
organization.
you try to make race real. That's what happens when you try to make race real. It's hard to police it.
Well,
It's
it's said
impossible to
several
police it.
times that race ain't real, but
It's not. That's my point.
you just admitted
It's
not too
not. But
long
so
ago.
facilitating in the belief of it is
You the one that
not
just said you might go into
proving that it
a
exists.
little bit of racism. That's what you said. I didn't
You know
say
what I'm
that.
saying? Like you have some people that actually will practice racism some places. Some places you got some people that don't practice it. Like it's not even on their mind. Like
Okay,
you
that
just
goes
take
back.
all the context of living out of these people's lives and you just look thinking in absolutes.
So that goes back to my central point, meaning that racism has very real hindrances and consequences to a specific group of
It's as
people.
real as the people that think about it.
If people practice it, and still, if they are able to practice it to a point where they can go up to you and say something, what makes you think they're not doing it in another field, like in housing and
Listen,
health?
if somebody can
You know,
individually practice on their own, I mean that's them, but they cannot say that because of how they think that that's the reason why a whole group of people don't have shit. That's not true. So that's not real. They may think it's real, but it's not fucking real. And like we keep telling you, the racial statistics are not fucking real statistics because you have white people that you got so many people that have changed their race. I have literally put up an article by Pew Research Center that says millions of Americans year by year, and the number is steadily increasing, that they are changing their race. And if it was something that was biological or genetic, then how the fuck is people able to change their race here in the United States? It's not fucking real. Whenever you try to substantiate it makes the problem worse, actually, because now you just erase the identity of these people by putting a blanket whole like collective term for these people, and that's just not genuine. You
Question
can't
100.
have no policies like that.
What part of Houston? What part of Texas do you live in again? Is it Houston? You said
I live in Houston.
you lived there your entire life.
Nah,
Where you
I've lived all over the I lived all over the country.
What places?
I lived in the Midwest. I lived in Southwest. I've lived in, you know what I'm saying? I lived over there in the southeastern part in Arkansas. Bro, I've lived in several places throughout the United States. And I'm telling you, I've seen different parts, different walks of life, different types of environments, different types of white people. All white people ain't the same, just all niggas ain't the same.
I know that.
So like putting this whole blanket term on people, it's really like, you know, black people complain about being stereotyped, and I argue that black people do it more than white people do. Because what you do is pretty much stereotype.
So yeah, I'm pretty rooted in what I believe in. You know, I don't know.
It's wrong.
If you think it's wrong, brother, then
it's fucking wrong. It's wrong. If a motherfucker look at you and be like, yo, people go to you look like a criminal, nigga, that would be wrong. You feel me? That would be wrong. So stereotyping is wrong on an individual level. It's just wrong to do. Do you think, okay. So if these white folks are so racist, how come they always need black people to do their shit, to do their bidding?
Hello.
Kick me out of my space. This shit crazy. But yeah, man. And calling the government white is like, man, we can't be doing it.
Couldn't hear you.
Yeah, they kicked me out to space. This is the second time. Keep me out my own space. But yeah, man, like
5:22 in the morning. What the fuck?
But this shit is man, racism is in people's mind. That's the mental slavery that people are in right now. Like thinking that there's this white man that's there to sabotage you at your every turn. You feel me? Pharaoh, let me ask you a real question. Have you ever had any altercations with any Klan members within the past decade?
No.
All right then. Neither have I. Hey,
But
how about you, Lo? Hold on, Pharaoh. I'm proving a point. Don't speak over me. How about you, Lo? Lo, have you had any of those experiences specifically with the Klan?
No.
Within the past decade, too. I'm giving a decade. Bad cuz. What about you, brother? Have you ever had any experiences with the Klan before? Like bad experiences? I'm not, I just want to prove a point. All right, you may be asleep. But the whole point is this. The people that I've asked in this room, you know what I'm saying? For us to not even have to deal with that, we would be speaking on these entities and these organizations based off of, secondhand sources. You know what I'm saying? And not on our own, from our own experiences. You know what I mean? Not saying that we haven't experienced racism, but to say that it actually comes from a Klansman. You know what I mean? We can't specifically speak to that. Just like if we was talking about slavery, we couldn't speak on chattel slavery if we didn't confirm whether or not our ancestors were actually part of that history. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you shouldn't be calling yourself ADOS or any of that shit or descendant of slaves if you haven't done any genealogical research to confirm that. Because there were black folks who owned slaves. There is many walks of life that was just not even like part of that situation. You know what I'm saying? And
this is why I stress the understanding of what slavery is slash was.
like, our identity is rooted in slavery. Like, that shit it has to like come to an end. Like, when people think Black Americans, they think slavery. That is some bullshit right there. That's that program. Our history does not start at no fucking slavery. You know what I'm saying? They say slavery built this wealth in America. Like, that's a very rudimentary way of looking at how we build our wealth as a country. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna say that we have the most advanced technological inventions and patents?
I think when we look at slavery, the way that it was used in Old French, I would agree that slavery is how we build this country. But all we're talking about is servitude to your family, servitude to your community, and servitude to your nation. That's all we're talking about when we talk about slavery, especially in the context in which it was written in law. I'm gonna sit here and go on this whole spiel. I'm gonna post my little presentation on YouTube, share a link, and then just encourage people to look into the etymology of the words slave, serve, and servant.
Hey, so you know that movie Uncle Tom's Cabin? I think it's Uncle Tom's. Is it Uncle Tom's Cabin?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got 3 different types of slaves, or that they talked about in that movie. Pharaoh, have you seen that movie?
You said Uncle Tom's Cabin?
I think it's called Uncle Tom's Cabin. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's the name of it.
Pretty sure.
I'm gonna put it in the jumbotron. Where is it at?
Not sure if it was ever made in a movie, but I do know for a fact that it was a book.
It's very graphic. Hold on.
All right, this has been interesting.
But like, basically there's three slaves that they go over. One of them is the Indian, and they said the Indian was a failed experiment. The other one was an African, and they treated the African like pets. But he said that comparing the Indian between the Indians and the Africans, the Indians were more like coyotes and the Africans were like dogs. In a sense, like, dogs are tameable and Indians are not. And the more interesting thing is when they went over another black slave, they didn't specify I don't think they specified that he was European. But I think if I watch it closer, they may have left clues like that he was like really like European, because like he was on some list, and you know, you can probably tell by the last name, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, he's possibly one of these Europeans. So he spoke like really, really good English, and he was supposed to be this skilled worker. And so he was talking about slavery from his perspective, and he was like, the narrator was like, man, why the state of your condition, how could they have you working for free? And he's like, man, my work is not free. My labor is not free. I want to pull that shit up because I know I have it in on my timeline. Oh, here we go. Goodbye, Uncle Tom. It's not Uncle Tom's Cabin. It's Goodbye, Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom's Cabin is it must be the book.
Yeah, I think, isn't Samuel Jackson in that movie? I think I see Samuel Jackson in. But here we go. Let me see if I can find it. This shit is graphic, yo. Like the beginning of this movie, man, it's super graphic. I cannot watch it. Man, this nigga said he wanted to be a fucking politician, bro. Man, that's cap, bro. He ain't gonna be no politician. Oh, here we go.
Are inferior to our own. A race that is but another example of nature's innumerable attempts to obtain perfection. Nature loves perfection. The perfection of the European Homo sapiens, the white race. Us.
Excuse us, Professor, but aren't you Jewish?
Yes, but why?
That's funny. I thought Jews didn't classify themselves as white. That's funny. That's funny. I swear I tried to argue I've argued with so many white people that call themselves Jewish, and they said that they were not white. But yeah, I thought it was funny that he called himself white, and when they alluded to his Jewish his Jewish ancestry, what difference does that make?
Just imagine we want to rid ourselves. You wouldn't have to use a process methods like gas or deportation. It would simply not cure the disease, which infest the specimens here in this place. Remember, I written this. Ego is a good thing, and a bad thing is a sick meat. For example, look at this. The disease is drapetomania, or the mania to escape. They think only of escape, but not out of an idea of freedom, which is understandable in a human. The Negro doesn't have these sentiments. If he escapes only because he's sick. Now here is a perfect example of Cachexia africana, or dirt.
What do they do, Mike?
Oh, this is not a muzzle. No. It's simply to keep them from devouring every sort of refuge, including their own excrement and dirt. It's a...
You hear that, Lo?
Yeah, I heard it.
These Africans got cages on and these big ass muzzle looking cone like things on their faces.
I think
And
I've seen that before.
the narrator is like, yeah, do they bite? He's like, no, it's not for biting. It's to keep them from eating their own feces and dirt. And dirt, he says. Huh.
Mhm.
Listen, is that an
Yeah.
American? Huh?
I've never known us to use our own feces for anything. We have used our own sweat and urine, but not our poop.
Not our poop.
Not to my
Right.
knowledge, at least.
Right. And that's crazy, right? And I've seen a few African people, I don't know, let's just say individuals that have, you know, ate that shit, literally. So, yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. Niggas was doing some real savage shit back in the day, I guess. I don't know, man. Cannibalism and all of that. Man,
I think it's only we think of it as savagery because it's not normal now. But I wonder
yeah.
what we would think of it if we were up in a different culture or brought up at a different time.
Man, looking at people like snacks. Hell nah. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
I gotta get ready. I'm gonna slide out of here for probably about an hour. If you still got this open, I'll be back.
Shit, I'm finna get ready my damn self. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you coming up here, Lo. It was a doozy.
Yeah. Y'all be safe.
All right, you too. Peace.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Channel Raw TV Bay Bay.